Alaskan Corla, I welcome the Palestinian ambassador, members of the Palestinian community and long-standing campaigners for justice in Palestine here to the Dáil today for these statements that mark an historic moment for both Ireland and Palestine. The decision to officially recognise the State of Palestine fulfils a Dáil mandate that is now almost a decade old. It was in December 2014 that the members of this House adopted the Sinn Féin motion that called on the then government to take this step. Better later than never, of course. When the then Sinn Féin leader Gerry Adams proposed that motion, it was in the aftermath of the 2014 bombardment of Gaza that had resulted in the killing of 2,251 Palestinians, including more than 500 children. Better later than never. What we have had since is yet another lost decade when the world turned a blind eye to the ongoing relentless violation of international laws perpetrated against the people of Palestine by Israel. During the 2014 bombardment, the world had watched as 4 little boys playing football on a beach in Gaza were deliberately targeted and bombed by the IDF. The world did nothing. Irish governments, often saying the right thing, did nothing. It was the same in 2015 when Amnesty International documented 20 cases of unlawful killings of Palestinians. And in October that year, when 17-year-old Dania Jihad Hussein Ershad, with her arms raised, pleading for mercy, was shot at least 6 times by Israeli forces in Hebron. Strong words, sometimes no action ever. In 2016, when the world watched settlement expansion in the West Bank and when the impact of the brutal blockade in Gaza was reported by human rights organisations, the world stayed mute. A new Irish government failed to enact the Dáil decision to recognise the State of Palestine. It's not the right time, we were told. Better later than never. In 2017, when 4 Palestinian human rights groups submitted a report to the International Criminal Court outlining that high-level Israeli officials were complicit in committing war crimes against the people of Palestine, again, world leaders stayed silent. They described Israel as the only democracy in the Middle East. Some, including Irish ministers, called for restraint in settlement expansion. But as the occupation continued and the blockade intensified, Israel faced not a single consequence. In their attempt to draw international attention to the impact of the blockade, throughout 2018 and 2019, Palestinians in Gaza engaged in what they called the Great March of Return. They were doing what we, across the Western world, had told them was the effective way to highlight their cause. They were engaged in peaceful, non-violent protest. Israel responded by murdering 223 of them, including little 11-year-old Yasser Abu Najah from Khan Yunis, who was shot dead as he hid with 2 friends behind a bin. His crime was chanting a Palestinian slogan at the cowards who described themselves as the most moral army in the world. And it still wasn't the right time to recognise that Yasser's state existed. In 2020, when Israel was continuing to benefit from the most preferential trading, economic and diplomatic relationships with the Western world, international leaders ignored the appeals of UN human rights experts when they called for an independent investigation into the killing of 15-year-old Ali Abman Abu Alia, who had become the 6th Palestinian child to be killed by Israel that year. And on and on and on it went. The Gaza bombardment of 2021 that left 254 dead, including 67 children. The regular brutal attacks on refugee camps, including the 2022 attack on Jenin camp and the accompanying targeted sniper assassination of journalist Shireen Abu Akleh by an IDF sniper. Throughout the decade since this House has called for the recognition of Palestine, there have been 2 constants. Israel's disregard for international law and the lives of Palestinians, and the refusal of world leaders to hold them accountable for their war crimes. Alaskan Corla, I am immensely proud that this day has come. I'm proud not of any politician, I'm proud of the people in the gallery who forced it to happen. I'm proud of the hundreds of thousands of Irish people who marched, who campaigned, who have refused to allow us to turn the other way. I'm proud of those Palestinians who have shared their story with the people of Ireland. We, in turn, have taken them to our hearts. I regret the last lost decade, when Ireland said the right things but failed to do the things that needed to be done. Better later than never. because it was as a result of world inaction that brought us to where we are. The horrendous attacks of Hamas against innocent Israelis on October the 7th have rightfully been condemned over and over and over again. But history did not start on October the 7th, 2023, and the war crimes of that day provide no justification for the war crimes committed by Israel every day since. As we today declare that Ireland recognises the state of Palestine, we do so against a backdrop of over 36,000 Palestinians having been killed by Israel in Gaza, including more than 15,000 children in just 7 months. So let us declare as well today that there will be no more lost decades, lost years, lost opportunities. Israel has been conducting a genocide because history tells it can do so with impunity. Some states like Ireland saying the right thing but not doing the necessary things. Other powerful states being complicit in every illegal action conducted under the Israeli flag. The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has now sought arrest warrants for Israeli leaders, including Benjamin Netanyahu. The International Court of Justice now considers a charge of genocide and has ordered Israel to cease the attacks on Rafah. Ireland, Norway and Spain officially recognise the state of Palestine. All better later than never. But today is not an end, it's just a beginning. A beginning of an international chorus that demands an end to the savagery of Israel against the women, men and children of Palestine. That demands an end to the occupation, the apartheid, the oppression, the bombings. If we say that Palestine has a right to a state, then we must take action against those who are determined to destroy that objective. If we say that international law matters, then we cannot trade with a state that breaches it every single day. If we say that the lives of Palestinian children have worth, then we cannot engage in diplomatic niceties with the state that is murdering them. We know that action is better taken later rather than never. But we also know at some stage there will be no later. This is the last chance. If there is to be a free, sovereign Palestine, then we must act now. No more wasted decades, no more lost opportunities, no more excuses. Now is the right time. Stop the preferential treatment for Israel. Stop arming Israel. Stop the economic supports for Israel. Stop the war. Stop the genocide. Because, unfortunately, Lascan Corla, it is too late for far too many Palestinians, but it's better later than never. Today is a historic day, but it's just a beginning.